But I want to start this hour of the program talking about our American system and how right now it seems to be decaying, mostly from Joe Biden's neglect and neglect from general feelings of non-committance, right? Have you noticed how it looks like the bad guys are being rewarded in this country while the good guys are being knocked down? Seems to happen every day. That's a sign, a big one, that we're headed down the wrong path in this country. It happens. Actual criminals in big cities are being let go on low bail or even no bail at all after being arrested. It's unbelievable. And some parts aren't even taken into custody. That's right. Some people aren't even taken into custody at all. We've seen it all on videos out of California, for instance, where looters just walk into stores, grab whatever they can, and leave, with police doing nothing to stop it. And why is that? Well, it's because Democrat policies protect those people, but they do not protect law-abiding people like you and me. Take this, for example. The U.S. Postal Service has stopped delivering mail in Santa Monica, California, because mailmen are being attacked while making deliveries, and the mail, it's being stolen. The police there apparently just can't stop it, or won't. And we all remember the trains being robbed in L.A. You're seeing footage of that right now. And this is how California's governor reacted to all of that.
This is not one-off. This is organized theft. These are organized gangs of people that are coming out, and forgive me for saying gangs. I know that's not a pejorative. They're organized groups of folks that move from site to site. When there's more attention, a bright light on one site, they move to the next site. A lot of these folks are arrested as if they're individuals that are not connected to the whole. And we need to change that.
That idiot was actually more worried about offending the thieves by saying the word gangs to describe them, which, by the way, is completely accurate. It's what they are. They're a group of individuals committing crimes. Do you think he was offended by the movie The Gangs of New York? Come on. When political correctness overtakes any common sense at all, you get California. But sadly, it's not just isolated to California. This kind of thing is happening all over the country, in fact. Even in red states like Texas, where the federal government is letting illegal aliens in with, well, as you know, no consequences at all. It doesn't seem there's much that Texas can do about it. But hey, remember when the Biden administration was mulling giving out six-figure payments to these very same illegals? I wonder whatever happened to that. We'll have to look into that. Look, I'm not saying illegals are bad people. I know some just want to be here for a better life, and that's fair. And who can blame them? Just do it right. Because they are breaking the law. And honestly, there's no way to know if any of these people are good or bad when we don't do background checks on them. We don't even COVID test them. We don't know who they are. Unvetted, untested, and then unleashed on you and me. But Dr. Fauci says we may need to start masking indoors again. Maybe they'll bring back those vax mandates too, but not if you're here illegally. Then you can do anything you want. Probably get a check, and don't forget the brand new smartphone, just for you. So the Biden administration is letting in criminals to this country and not punishing American criminals who break the law, even violently. And on top of all of that, he doesn't want you to be able to defend yourself either. Listen to this.
And I know it's controversial, but I got it done once. Ban assault weapons and high-capacity magazines. I was getting criticized when I first passed this law when I was a senator. And guess what? I was down in southern Delaware, do a lot of hunting and fishing down there. And I was walking up one of the creek beds. And the guy standing there said, "You want to take my gun?" I said, "No, I don't take your gun." He said, "Well, you're telling me I can't have more than X number of bullets in my gun." And I said, "What do you think, the deer you're hunting or wear Kevlar vests? What the hell you need 20 bullets for? You must be a hell of a terrible shot." I'm serious. Think about it. Think about the mass shooting.
Please. Joe Biden's never been hunting a day in his life. But let me explain to you why people are upset. It's because, Mr. President, you see, the Second Amendment isn't about hunting. The American patriots at Lexington and Concord weren't coming home from deer camp. Newsflash. They were shooting the British soldiers dead in the road. Why? To reject imperialist tyranny from the King of England. But if those white-tailed deer ever rise up against us, we'll defend ourselves against them too. Get a clue, please. It's all about defending yourself and your rights. But you see, Democrats don't care about that. They believe they give you the rights you have, that they are granted to you by the government. That's truly what they believe. And criminals, well, they have rights too, oftentimes more than you or me, because they've been historically marginalized. That's the argument, seriously. Think about how dumb that is, and in fact, racist. That thought is this. They don't want to prosecute criminals because in the Democrats' closed little minds, in the deep, dark recesses of those closed little minds, most criminals are minorities. And minorities have been historically marginalized in this country. So you can't really blame them for breaking the law. It's not really their fault. It's just bad luck. Bad luck of the draw. And the Biden administration is trying to make it easier for felons to get housing, too. Need a place to stay? Commit a few crimes, including with the assistance of government funding. And what does that mean? That means your money, your tax dollars, going to help felons pay rent or buy a home. Is the government doing that for you? Well, no, frankly. With inflation going through the roof, rising to its highest levels in 4 decades, housing is more expensive than ever. In fact, everything is. It's enough to make you ask, how long do you need to spend in jail to get some of that sweet government housing money? And the Biden administration is not interested in fixing inflation at all. They're interested in passing the buck. And who is getting blamed for all of this inflation? Well, who do they always go to? Russia, of course. Blame Russia. It doesn't matter what happens. Listen.
Putin's invasion of Ukraine has driven up gas prices and food prices all over the world. The 2 largest grain producers in the world, Ukraine and Russia, are not doing what they usually do, so everything's going up. We saw today's inflation data. 70% of the increase in prices in March came from Putin's price hike in gasoline.
I'm sorry, it gets to be too much. How do we look at this guy every day? Incompetent and incontinent. The leader of the free world, really? Yeah. Anyhow, the administration understands they can reduce inflation today if they wanted to by unleashing the American energy sector, but they don't want to do that. And why do you think that is? And our leaders, well, they know better. They routinely break the law with no consequences. Just look at the Clintons or the world's tallest Boy Scout, Jimmy Comey, who essentially admitted to breaking the law and leaking classified information to get an investigation started into the President of the United States when it was Donald Trump, all because Trump canned him and Comey's ego couldn't take it. Or how about the current president's own son, Hunter Biden? We know the president wants to be tough on guns, but his own son lied on his gun application. It's a felony, by the way, if you did it or I did. Then he got the Secret Service involved to clean the mess up. That's the kind of corruption that we're dealing with, and it's astounding. And that's not even close to the worst of it, as we all know. How about the 2020 election? We know Democrats manipulated the rules, used the pandemic in order to win the election. It worked. No consequences to them, of course. They keep getting a pass. But plenty of consequences to the average American due to the ongoing monumental failures of this administration and Joe Biden. The American system is decaying today, but it's not over yet. The good guys can still win. You can still win. I can still win. But it's going to take regular Americans like you holding both parties accountable. Yes, both parties, because Democrats and weakling Republicans are just as bad. And this can't go on forever. It can't go on much longer. That's a fact. One way or another, it's going to come to an end, either in America's downfall or in its renewal. Very little middle ground here. So let's do the hard work to make sure it is renewal and not downfall. Let's stop the decay. Are you with me? Good.